Hi, my name's Ellie Spearman, and I'm doing my thesis on the dangers of one's own mind. So, what first prompted the start of my thesis was our reading of Hamlet in 10th grade. Hamlet inspired my thinking because it explored the concept of the power of one's own mind and imagination, and how it can lead to your downfall, which was also a recurring theme in many other books that we have read in literature. I first started off my thesis as the dangers of the separation between the physical body and the soul with the use of Flannery O'Connor. However, I was having trouble connecting the relevance of the physical body to contributing to the problem of my thesis, which is the dangers of the mind. As a result, I shifted my thesis to primarily explore the distortions of the truth that the mind can create through its own perception of the world. I then used Flannery O'Connor as a means to develop a definition of grace and decided to add the philosophy of Stoicism into my argument. I then developed my main question of my thesis, which is, what are the dangers of man's own mind and emotions, and how can it limit their view of their truth and happiness? To answer this question, I first turned to Hamlet by Shakespeare, which through Hamlet himself gives an example of the dangers of one's own mind as it leads to his madness. Hamlet, instead of being guided by the reason of Horatio, follows his emotions and fantasizations of his father's ghosts, causing his only desire to be to avenge the death of his father. This leads him into a spiral of depression and madness and causes him to see the world around him as corrupt. As a solution to this problem, I used The Coddling of American Mind by Greg Lukianoff and Jonathan Haidt, which offers the solution of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is a series of rational questions that one should ask themselves in order to escape their emotional reasoning. They describe this problem of overthinking as people making evidence to their unconscious or automatic thoughts, which are often untruthful. This process is called emotional reasoning. This then causes people to have negative perceptions of the world and distort the truth around them. I then added the use of Stoic philosophy into my paper through the use of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations. The Stoic philosophy falls in line with the use of cognitive behavioral therapy because it promotes logos, which is reason, as the defining principle of life. They believe that man should have the discipline of perception, which means they are able to perceive the events of the world with reason and are able to stay away from the distortions of the world that their emotions can create. The Stoics also believe that logos controls the universe as a whole, so humans are unable to reach a state of perfection. This also adds to my argument as I argue that men also create the distortions of their mind that they must reach a state of perfection, which causes men to often degrade themselves because no one is able to achieve this. I also used many of Flannery O'Connor's short stories as an example of this because they reveal a moment of grace that people discover within themselves, often in moments of violence. This grace allows individuals to accept their unknowing and see greater truths in the world larger than themselves. As a result of these readings, I developed my main thesis statement, which is that an individual's mind can change the way that they perceive the world because it has the ability to distort the truth in the world, which can lead individuals into a spiral of negative emotions and result in unhappiness. In order to avoid this dangerous thinking, individuals must question their emotions with reason so that they may accept the truth of their lives with grace.